Hi guys, I'm Eric Schatzer. I'm a student at Clemson University, and this is an assignment for my Library 100 class. Right now, I am going to give you a summary of the new student dialogue that I attended called It's Your Choice or Is It? Religious Perceptions on the Queer Community. There are a few basic things that I just have to talk about, and then I will give you an idea of what the actual dialogue was about in general. Um, Really, the whole point of this was so that everybody could get into a discussion and they could share their opinions. But unfortunately, I don't feel like the room was necessarily in a dialogue. Probably about myself and five other people led the discussion the entire time in a classroom of 30. This could have been because it's a bit of an uncomfortable topic for a lot of people discussing religious perceptions of the queer community. Um, and I guess people were just worried about offending others or being judged for their beliefs, which happens all the time and is understandable. But I wish more people would have spoken out. Um, Basically, before I really get started telling you what we talked about, I want to describe the queer community, which is the LGBTQ community, which is the lesbian, gay, bi, transgender, and questioning community in terms of sexuality. Um, we talked about a variety of things about whether you'd been judged for your sexuality, whether you struggled with it, and what your opinions on it were. Like, do you agree with people who choose the gay? Well, I'm not going to say choose, that's a bad word. But people who lead the gay, bi, transgender, lesbian, questioning lifestyle. So, um, we did an exercise before we really gained our discussion in order to get like a class survey where we had an agree side of the room and a disagree side of the room. And a question was asked by our new student dialogue leader, and depending on what you felt on the topic, like how much you agreed and how much you disagreed, you moved to a certain section of the room. And it was really interesting seeing the different opinions that people had. Obviously, those that were of the LGBTQ community went to the more agree side for if you've been pressured about your sexuality, because I feel like straight people don't have that much of an issue in the public world about it. It's kind of hard, I think, for the LGBTQ community, sorry, because I mean they are different than other people, and that's the reality of the situation. I mean, they're the same as you and I, but they are their own particular group, and unfortunately a large part of the world does not look down on them. And this new student dialogue focused specifically on the religious perceptions of them. For instance, Christianity technically denounces homosexuality. I am not a fundamentalist Christian by any means, but I do try to follow my life to the Bible. I believe that if you are a good person and you try to live your life according to the Bible, do good through God's works, you're good. That's just my own opinion. I have bi, gay, and lesbian friends, and they're some of the best people I know. They're great people. I mean, they help out in their community. So I have absolutely no problem with it in general. One of the things we really talked about is if I had personal experience, or I knew people that had personal experience with being bashed for their sexuality or felt pressured because of it. There were some people in the room who actually had. In my case, I know people who have. I had a friend who attends USC, real smart guy, goes on full scholarship. He was walking downtown the other day, and he went to a gay bar because he was just trying to socialize with some people that were like him. And some guys saw him walked out, called him a not so nice word, and he responded with a not so nice word back, and they punched him in the face, and he got messed up pretty bad because of that. And that was obviously just, I mean, they shouldn't have attacked him like that. That wasn't right in the first place. While his retaliation wasn't necessarily the best form, he was targeted because he is bisexual, and that's just not cool. People shouldn't be targeted because of their sexuality. Um, I don't think that anybody should be judged because of their sexuality. That does not define them as a person, and I personally don't believe it's a choice. I really don't. Because, think about it this way. The people in the LGBTQ community go through so much in their life. I mean, they have to gain social acceptance. Some never even gain acceptance from their parents if they even decide to tell them. They are looked down upon by the religious community. I mean, in a lot of ways, it's just really hard for them to fit into society occasionally. I mean, it's a hard life, and I don't understand why you would want to choose something like that. So that is just my personal belief. All in all, I feel like the discussion that we had between myself and the 6 other people were really good. We talked about whether it was right to try and discuss religious perspectives about homosexuality not being right with people who are not of the straight sexuality, or heterosexual, if that's probably a better term. But we really talked about it's okay to discuss it, but you shouldn't be hateful about it at all. Like, don't make it seem like you're trying to tell them that, oh, if you don't turn straight and accept God's love, you're going to hell, blah, 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 blah. I mean, that's just rude. I mean, honestly. What you need to do is just approach them. Honestly, because I don't really see a problem with it myself, I would approach them and just try and tell them, God still loves you. That's all there is to it. And people who say, oh, God doesn't love gay people, well, guess what? I'm here to tell you right now, you are wrong. I'm sorry, but I don't believe that. Really, the whole point is that while it's a very delicate topic, people don't like talking about it because often it brings up arguments and people get upset. There are people who are in the LGBT community around us every single day, and there is no reason why, because we may not necessarily agree with their lifestyle, we have to treat them poorly in any manner. We should treat them just like everybody else. I try to live my life as much as possible to this one statement, parable from the Bible, one of the 10 Commandments: love your neighbor as yourself. Treat every other person the way you would treat the person you would love most. Treat them kindly. Treat them how you would want to be treated. There's no reason to treat those, I'm not going to say those people because that sounds kind of bad, but to treat a person of the LGBTQ community in a bad way. So I'm going to wrap this up now. Really, I mean, the dialogue was good. I honestly did have fun because I like sharing my opinions. I like seeing other people's perspectives. I thought it was a good discussion between the few of us that were talking. My new student dialogue leaders were great. They really didn't have to push for the discussion much because we went on pretty much on ourselves. But all in all, we learned a good bit, and I really feel like I got my point across to you guys about religious perceptions and how the LGBT community often struggles with it, and what my views on it are, and some of the others. I mean, there are some extremists, like I think it's Westboro Baptist Church is located in Georgia. I mean, those guys just take it way too far, and they're just way too rude. And I don't even view them as Christians, honestly, because what they do is unchristian. I mean, they're just hateful people. So, point being, don't be hateful, don't be rude. I mean, there's no point to it. The LGBT community, those people in that community are just like you and me, honestly. So, I hope that you guys have gotten a slightly better understanding of everything. I hope you enjoyed this conversation, and thanks for watching.